My band played a gig with Jeremy Corbyn the other night, and as expected, it got some extremely mixed reactions online, ranging from shock and joy to rage and hate. And I just want to give some context to the reasons that we played the show, my thoughts on a potential new party on the left through the lens of Scottish independence, and also just break down some of the wacky things people have said online about the clip I just shared. Now, I'm going to show you a clip just now, but just to put things into perspective, I don't use TikTok. I think I've got about 200 followers, rarely ever get even one comment, and within seconds of sharing this clip, it started going mad. You know, I think I had nearly 300 comments in a few hours, either from a bot farm or people so obsessed with Jeremy Corbyn that they're actively searching his name in real time so that they can tell everyone that they hate him. So either that or they're organised in a group. But let's find out. Let's watch the clip to see what it was. What was it he said that made them so angry? What was the thing that he said in the short 7-second clip that caused everyone to go mad?
The next band we've got coming up, they're getting set up at the moment, are the Gyro Babies. Now, in a sense, I'm just discussing that. They are the updated version of UB40.
So all Corbyn said was that the Gyro Babies are like an updated version of UB40, which I'm sure he meant in the sense of unemployment checks. For those who don't know, Gyros replaced UB40s, which is now universal credit for anyone too young, too rich, or too far away from the UK to understand, as I don't think he was comparing us musically. So this is an actual factual statement of truth that he's just said there. And now let's look at how TikTok reacted within seconds, and why this is actually a very serious matter that needs to be thought about carefully if you don't want Nigel Farage to be your next Prime Minister. Now, I'm going to put on the screen just now some of the many narratives and talking points the right wing keep repeating on the screen. If you're listening to the audio podcast version of You Call That Radio, then I'll just summarise it. The more pleasant ones range from calling him a communist traitor to saying he's a joke who won't get any votes. Some are taking the immigration angle. Others are saying with glee in a smug way that he'll split the vote. One says that he's as unpopular as Starmer. Now let's just clarify that nobody is as unpopular as Starmer is right now. I think that's the only thing that the right and the left can coherently agree on, that Starmer is shite and stands for absolutely nothing. So, but yeah, why is this important? Well, it just seems to me it's quite clear that the fash is getting a wee bit rattled. As it stands, Farage will beat Starmer in a landslide because Starmer is copying Reform's homework while still ridiculously pretending he's somehow left-wing as he helps Israel commit genocide and ramps up austerity while arresting protesters and kissing Donald Trump's arse. Meanwhile, the SNP's popularity has fell off a cliff, especially since the John Swinney said that kneecap shouldn't play transmit. So, at the minute, independence feels like a pipe dream just now. There's definitely space for a new left-wing party, especially if they can work alongside the very few politicians who aren't already compromised. But whether this is a bot farm or real people, all I know is that it's organised. It's very organised mudslinging that happens within seconds of Jeremy Corbyn's name being spoken. And it's something that can only be defeated by people challenging the stupidity of blaming everything on immigration. We've been talking about this since, I think going back I can remember the Miller Band, when Miller Band was on, and we were always talking about immigration. We have been talking about immigration for decades now, and we never ever talk about class or why the reason why we're in this mess. What is going on? We never ever speak about it. Farage wants people to pay for the NHS. He wants tax cuts for the super wealthy, and he wants to take your pension. So as soon as anyone mentions immigration, just ask what else does Farage and Reform stand for? He's also lied about Brexit. For all the racists out there, he said that Brexit would stop immigration, and now he's saying that immigration's never been any worse. It was also him that made a pact with Boris so that Tories beat Corbyn previously. And now he wants the keys to number 10. He blatantly fans the flames of fascism in order to please his billionaire bosses. And I remain pro-independence, and I said as much during the gig. I wore a Scotland top and said that I'm anti-genocide, I'm anti-austerity, pro-independence, but pro-Jeremy Corbyn. Now, I'm not in any way associating myself with a party that doesn't even exist yet. The show that I played was booked months ago as part of a Music for the Many charity gig that gives free music lessons and free instruments to people in poverty. It also looks at saving independent venues and things like that. So it's considering the grassroots of the music industry is completely in disarray at the minute. I was there to support that, but then after that, this new party has been flouted, touted. I don't see Corbyn being the leader of the new party either, but I think he'd be an excellent addition to it. I think whether that would be as an advisor or as a foreign minister or something like that, I think he's been the correct side of history his entire life. His voting record speaks volumes, and he seems like a genuinely humble guy. When I met him very briefly, but he seemed sound, and he's had to deal with vicious attacks from every side of the media, as well as backstabbing from his own party in the past. And just look at the absolute state of Trump's America, which will probably get even worse under J.D. Vance once he pops his clogs. And sadly, blaming immigrants just seems to work. It seems to be a vote winner because it's subject to non-stop propaganda from mainstream television to social media. We never discuss class. We never discuss tax avoidance. We never discuss corporate greed. We never discuss why the credit crunch actually happened. We avoid the wars and the genocide, despite the fact they unfold before our eyes. The Epstein file seems to be the only thing that they can't seem to move past right now. But it's just time to call out misinformation whenever we see it and put the attention back on to the bankers, the warmongers, the elites, and everything Jeremy Corbyn said on Friday night, I think that the majority of people would agree with. So, but whether your party can succeed is another matter entirely. It seems to be unfolding far too slowly, in my opinion. In an ideal world, there would be no political parties. You just vote for an independent candidate who doesn't have a team to support. Parties in general have always just seemed to me that they're just blinded by their own hypocrisy. They always say things like, let's wait till we find out all the information. If their guy's involved in a scandal, but then when the other guy's involved in a scandal, they demand that they resign. So I've just never really supported any political party. In an ideal world, I believe in Scottish independence, and I think that would work well alongside a left-leaning party in Westminster. Rather deal with them than a con man like Farage, whose claim to fame is being pals with President Trump, who was pals with Jeffrey Epstein. So now's a time for a backlash against all this racist propaganda. Let's focus on the people in charge who make the decisions to make our lives worse. We've tried the whole Tory racist austerity thing for too long now, and that includes Starmer. Time for fresh ideas, and the fact that 300 right-wing bots and trolls are commenting on a page with no followers within seconds shows me the establishment do fear Corbyn. So thank you to everyone who said something mean or childish about Corbyn. I think you've convinced me that this could be the way forward. You've been watching or listening to the news on You Call That Radio. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, especially if you're a bot. Radio. You Call That Radio.